Welcome to Guides Everything, the podcast ranging in subjects from sex to astrophysics. This episode will cover being an extrovert versus being an introvert and how that relates to being in the zone. You know, that state where everything you do just flows and without any effort you can just do things schmuck, schmuck, schmuck. That's the zone. Now, let's just first define what an extrovert and an introvert is. Because very often people can be seen as an extrovert or seen as an introvert without actually being an extrovert or introvert. So an extrovert is a person that will get energy from being around other people. Being around other people will give you energy. You get really pumped up. Whereas an introvert, when that person is around other people, it costs him or her energy. And the person gets energy from being alone. Now, I'm very often taken to be an extrovert, but I'm actually an introvert. And the reason why I'm taken to be an extrovert is because I'm a lot on stage. I do motivational speaking, I do talks, I do courses, I do all kinds of stuff in front of people. Whether it's coaching teams or it's just, speech at a wedding or whatever it is. But all of that costs me energy. I get really exhausted after having done some job on stage. Even though I get rave reviews from doing that, I get really washed out. Whereas if I'm alone doing my own stuff, like sitting in a bathtub doing quantum mechanics, then that gives me energy. So that's the difference. Now there are two types of extroverts. You can be an extrovert because you love to be around other people, or you can be an extrovert because you fear being alone. And there are two types of introverts. It's those that love being alone, and there are those that fear being around other people. Now, I evolved from being happy to be alone and fearing other people to love being alone and be okay to be with other people. A funny situation last week when I was in Singapore, the lady that was sort of my host there, Chris, she, after I went or was on my plane trip back home, she sent me a message apologizing for not being a more active host. She was very busy that week. But, I would rather be alone in Singapore on the evenings and just explore it for myself than being hosted by another person, having to be social and having to interact and having to do chit-chat. So I'm very, very happy that Chris was busy so that she can do her stuff and I can do my stuff and everything was fine. Now, the situation in the world today is that the world celebrates the extroverts. Everything is geared toward you have to be an extrovert. Job interviews are all about, how do you relate to other people? How do you handle other people? Are you great to do this, great to do that? Has to do with a lot of, how you interact with other people. And even personality tests tends to celebrate or give praise more to extroverts than introverts. And often the world forgets the introverts, except when they do something really outstanding, like Einstein or even Nikola Tesla was even, forgotten. He was an introvert, but he did outstanding things, but probably not outstanding enough. So if you really do outstanding stuff, you can get to be known as an introvert even. But very much the world is about, look at me, how is all this? And, Tony Robbins type of coaching where extroverts are the way to be, the American way to be, etc. So introverts often get overlooked. Now, with me, the situation is like this. I love to be with others if I have a goal in mind. If there is something clear that I will produce, a result that I have to achieve, then I love to be with other people. And that means there has to be a goal related to that person. Either it is to help that person, then I thrive. Because then there is a clear goal in mind, I'm going to help the person and it's set. Or I'm talking to a person to learn something. So when I talk to people on the plane or on the train, I either help them or I explore how I can learn something from them. So that's the thing that drives me. And helping others drives me more than learning from others. But, it's that sequence. But I never like to chit-chat with other people. So me in a party, no. Very, very uninteresting. That's when I go early or go to the bathroom and just stay there. Or, I don't like chit-chat with other people. That's just not me at all. So I love working alone, mainly because there are no distractions. There are no other person that sort of, sidetracks me or stops me from doing what I really love doing. So that is why I love working alone. There are some situations where I love to work with others, but often it's simply distracting. A few notable exceptions is when I work with Brendan, my colleague, or Annette, my girlfriend, or Jonathan, who is one of my sons. These are notable exceptions. Then I can really thrive and be in the zone even though they are around me. But I am a result junkie. I love to just go for the results, and I'm an efficiency junkie. That is why I tweak my desktop on my computer. That is why I tweak my calculators to perfection, almost like an ASPIE on these situations. So, but I do realize that this total focus on results and efficiency and all of that will actually, I will miss opportunities because of that. I know that. But it's hard to sort of get out of it when you're in it because I'm so focused, I'm so in the zone. Now, Eric T., one of the people that reads my blog, isana.org, he requested that I did a podcast on being in the zone. And I put this into this blog podcast that has to do with extrovert and introvert, basically because it ties to this in a way. Because you are in a zone when you do something you love to do. When you really love to do something, then you can get into the zone. But only if the setting is also something you love. So if you're an introvert doing what you love alone, then you can be in the zone. But if you're an introvert doing what you love around other people, then that can be distracting and pull you out of the zone. But if you're an extrovert doing something alone that you love, then that can be sort of, maybe you're missing something. You're missing the people. You're missing the energy around you that you get from other people. And if you're an extrovert doing what you love with people around you that you love, then you can be in the zone. So zone is about doing what you love in the setting that you love. So I'm basically in the zone when I do things alone that I love. So that is the main driver for me. I can also be in the zone if I'm on a stage and talking to lots of people, but that's only when I have full control. No distractions. I can do whatever I want with the people around me, and I really excel when I do that, but it costs me energy. So when I get off the stage, I just have to be alone. I just want to go away, not talk to anybody, be in the bathtub, doing quantum mechanics, just sitting there, tinkering with the calculator, or something that is just completely me. I love that alone time when I can just be completely me, doing what I love. And also this is why I like doing podcasts more than I like doing interviews. Because interviews is like, oh, then there is distractions, there is not the question I wanted, I want to talk about something else, but the interviewer is asking the question in that direction, etc. So when I paint stuff, or on the computer, do 3D digital graphics, or I make music, or I write books, or I write poetry, I do podcasts, I write blogs, I do my technical tinkering with stuff, programming especially in some obscure programming language, or I do something with my calculator, so I take out my telescope, I'm completely alone looking at the stars of the planets, or doing some mathematics or quantum mechanics or chemistry or something. That's when I really excel. This is my zone. But for you to figure out what is your zone When you really get things flowing, you can just take a look at this. Are you an extrovert or introvert or somewhere in between? Why are you an extrovert? Is it because you love other people, or is it because you have fear of being alone? If you're an introvert, is it because you love being alone, or is it because you fear other people? And then figure out, what do you love to do, and do that in the environment that you really love doing it in. Then you can figure out how you can really get into the zone. And do as much as that as you can in life, because life excels when you're in the zone, and you excel at what you do when you're in the zone. So that's when you will feel more fulfilled. That's when you feel that you're really alive, that this zest in life, this energy really can come to you and overtake you. That's really cool. So follow me more on the blog at isne.org, isene.org, and subscribe to the newsletter that will give you updates whenever I do a new blog post. So see you on my blog, and share your comments if you like. See you next time.